Welcome everybody to Interactive Friction Season 2, Tomb Raider 2013. I am, as always, your host, Brandon Lee Carey. Joining me is Boat Captain Samuel Callahan.
Aye, aye. Other Capitan. So, something I've wondered about this boat, and you might or might not know this, but it seems that, like, the dash is designed so you can't see over it, and I wonder if that's to protect from, like, bullets or other things. Like, it's... Because I don't know how you'd see
Presumably,
over
Reyes
it.
and Jonas jury-rigged this boat so they could actually end up to do some fighting while on it.
I don't know. I feel like...
Like, see the turret in the back of the boat. Like,
Yeah, but like, when I
think
look
that
at the
would
front,
work.
like, how tall it is, and they can't see over it, and it's like, I wonder if that's by design. I don't know, maybe it's
It
just...
probably was.
Because I really doubt everybody's as tall as Jonas and could just, you know, even barely then see over it, but I do wonder if that's to protect yourself from bullets or something
Well,
like
a
that.
lot of boats were designed that way.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Right.
Kind of protect from the waves than
Yeah,
anything
probably
else.
water. Alright, so this is it, basically.
Yeah, so basically Reyes and Jonas have to hold the fort, which means, of course, Laura has to do things on her own.
At least they're out offering to try to do something. And
Yeah.
Laura's just like, no, I'm the protagonist, I gotta do this alone.
You don't understand, I have plot armor, guys. You don't.
Oh, God.
Remember the last time person tried to help me without the plot armor? I was wrong. Remember?
I just can't wait for the game that comes out that basically just says that. It's just like, no, I'm the protagonist, don't worry, I'll be fine. I've constantly
games
wondered...
have used that trope. Like Final Fantasy 12, Balthier's whole thing was that he is, quote, the leading man.
Yeah, it's something I've always wondered about that games continue to have a problem with, which is just how do you do main character death? And, you know, for all the problems it had, that was the one thing that I felt Heavy Rain did pretty well, which is like, yeah, you can totally die. And like,
Except the actual, except two of the four characters can't actually die.
oh, right, I forgot Ethan can't.
Nor can Shelby. Unless you kill him in the finale because he's the killer.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Don't, spoiler alert, don't play Heavy Rain. Please, God, don't play Heavy Rain.
Yeah. I got the platinum trophy for Heavy Rain.
Why?
I'm not proud of that.
What did you have to do?
That was back when I was a trophy collector.
Oh, you're one of those?
But I was a high school student and still had the time and patience to give a shit.
Yeah. It's funny, we talked about that in the recent podcast about this idea of, like, not having time anymore.
And look, there's Sam not doing anything again.
Encountered these archaic tribes before.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Even
like,
though literally she's going to die. And she
I
knows
guess at
it
some
at
point,
this
like, if it's just these three guys, you figured that she would just try to struggle and let go. Like, she could just kick him in the nuts.
Yeah.
She'd probably let go.
And like, what's Whitman gonna do? Honestly.
Yeah, Whitman wouldn't do shit. Also, I find the scene kind of funny because it's just like, fuck off, Whitman.
What is it, Japanese? You're
Yeah,
Joe.
Sure.
he kind of deserves whatever's coming to him.
It's kind of funny that, you know, for all the anime I watch, I rarely hear the word queen. I usually hear princess, just Hime.
And again, like, she has all the power if she actually ended up using any of it, because if she dies, then Matthias is fucked.
I found it funny when you brought that up, and I was like, oh, right, this game has plot problems. Well, it's not necessarily a plot problem, it's like a character deficiency, like, just why
Yeah.
wouldn't the character do this?
And I mean, I guess you could justify it by saying she's terrified of her mind, but if they don't, she doesn't look terrified, not really.
Yeah.
She looks kind of like,
She
I'm
looks-
kidnapped, I guess.
She kind of looks like vaguely scared in a movie-like fashion.
Yes. She looks scared, but not scared enough to have that level of an action. She doesn't look terrified. She looks vaguely frightened.
I really hope that I don't die a lot when we get to the combat sections with the Oni. Because I think there's only like 2 in the whole game, if I remember correctly. Like there's one during like the giant like storm. Or
I
not
think
storm,
there's
but, like,
2
gut
during
thing.
that long ass conflict, and then there's one in the finale.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that you don't see or fight the supernatural stuff all that much, which I kind of prefer, but I can see some people saying that's kind of a bummer. I'm just not a big supernatural fan
I
myself.
mean, it does feel like, aside from like the pirates, there's nothing really standing in your way. Like there's this
Oh,
supposedly
right,
this
this scene.
supernatural force but it doesn't really exist because you don't really fight all that often.
Yeah. Also, funny thing to talk about here is that normally in a scene like this in most games, it would say you can't shoot your gun or like you can't stand up or do anything that would cause
Oh, you
to-
can. You'll die,
Yeah,
but you
I'll say
can't.
normally you can't do that because the game will say we don't want you to intentionally kill yourself for some stupid reason. I really like that this game says you can do it if you're an idiot. It's like, because I tried it before and you just
We'll
die.
let you die.
Yeah.
I don't
like-
care. I don't care that much.
Yeah, but you know, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say there are a lot of games out there that would not let you do that. Like they
Oh,
would just
all
they
the
would
games.
yeah, they would limit you and just say like you have to walk slow because otherwise you get discovered. It's like, well, this give me the option to fuck up. Because you know, a game is all about player agency. It's about your choice to do what you think is best. And that's just
I do like it that the game designers in this case chose, you know what, I don't care. You can die, I don't really care.
yeah. It's like if you want to start over, that's up to you. If you really think you can take them. I kind of wish they at least gave you the chance to try to take them and just made it like fucking impossible. But you know, at least they tried.
Speaking Japanese.
I guess since Laura doesn't understand Japanese, so it's just like, I don't know, they're saying something vaguely Japanese.
Turning Japanese. Let's say I'm turning Japanese. I wrote a theme song.
I should have used my anime skills to understand what they were saying. Talking about school.
Dude, I don't even know if they used actual Japanese.
I don't fucking know. I don't remember if we're supposed to fight these guys or not, but let's not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
Because
either.
you have no weapons and they have swords.
Oh wait, yeah,
Oh.
we do. We do.
Oh, we do. Oh, we have weapons? That's good. Never mind.
Check it out!
I didn't
Boom!
slap your hand.
I've never actually really used execution before. Also, I don't think I've ever shot their helmets off.
Did you
either.
see the? Did you ever see the bow finisher?
Yes. I don't know what it is though.
You take an arrow from your quiver and jab it in their knee,
Yes, I remember that.
and then I yell, "Arrowed!"
Oh, you know, remember how like a couple episodes ago I said that there was a game I played that made an arrow to the knee joke?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that was Helldivers by the guys who made Magicka, which I believe that game also made an arrow to the knee joke. Anyway, we're going up. You know, fun fact, this is a multiplayer map because fun fact, I played the multiplayer in this game. Also, this game had
This is
multiplayer.
one of those games where I legitimately forgot that there was a multiplayer mode attached to it.
But luckily, like much like Dragon Age Inquisition, it has a multiplayer mode, but that did not limit the single player in any way. Like this is a full-fledged single player game that
It still feels weird that they even bother devoting resources to a mode that no one actually cared about.
well, like it was fine when it was there. Like I think the mechanics make, you know, much like Uncharted, the mechanics make for a pretty fine shooter, but they're just not lasting. Like
Yeah.
it just was not set up in such a way that makes you want to keep playing it. And that's kind of the problem with most multiplayer games is that, you know, there's been this constant
Yeah, they're
issue
all
of
right
if you-
for like a match or two, but aside from that, I don't really care that much.
Well, there's also the constant problem of like you can only devote so many resources because you already know beforehand that you're not going to be Call of Duty, so
Yeah.
people just aren't going to stick around. And that's always been a weird, I guess, sort of like catch-22 with multiplayer games. Of like you want to devote more resources and want to make it better, but it's ultimately not going to matter anyway.
Yeah.
So Laura's just full-on action movie.
I don't
stars.
recall having a whole lot of fun fighting these guys.
I mean, they're a bit. I was going to say a bit tougher. It's not really that. They're a bit more aggressive than the pirates.
Yeah.
And mostly because they have katanas. There's like katanas and bowmen, and that's it. So you have a lot of guys who just run straight at you.
Yeah.
And they have armor, but it's just like 2-hit armor.
You know what they say, never bring a sword to a gunfight.
Yep. What if it's a katana, though? I've heard those are pretty good.
They're garbage.
Garbage katanas for garbage people.
Because the thing is, like, because they were made of such shit material, you had to be a very, very good blacksmith to make a katana that was at all useful. So, like, that's how blacksmiths got their legend for making decent katanas that didn't break.
I was just trying to think of like why they became so popular in modern culture then, but I suppose it's less to do with katana and more to do with the samurai. and the
Well,
samurai.
probably because Japanese lore got, like, really popular, and that, like, since the katana is just the natural extension to that.
Yeah. I do have to imagine part of it, though, is that people are actually, whether they know or not, have a bigger interest in the samurai, the character of the samurai, than the weapon they use. It's
Yeah.
more about the people who use the weapon and how they used it.
Because in Japan, they were mostly status symbols. Having a katana meant you were a
Yeah.
really cool guy because you could afford a good blacksmith to make you a katana.
Yeah. And samurais are pretty interesting, in a similar way that, like, medieval knights are. It's like the idea of chivalry and, you know, codes of honor.
Of course, like medieval knights, the code of chivalry was there, but very few people actually followed it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, there's a code of chivalry, but like, yeah, like saying that samurais were honorable the same way as saying that because knights had a code of chivalry, they had to by default be honorable. No, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
They were basically just like what you'd expect a noble to be.
That
A
does,
noble warrior.
that does remind me, though, that I have not read it yet, but a while back my mother got me a book called Shogun, which I've heard is a very popular book about someone who travels to Japan in that era. It's like a fictional book. But it's a lot about, like, Japanese culture during that time period and such. He's like, you probably like this? And I was like, yeah, I probably would.
But I find the misconceptions about that kind of stuff are almost as interesting as the actual history.
Yes, the way that people view history is about as
Yeah.
interesting as the history itself.
Yeah, that's the way that the myths have evolved over the years.
I was gonna say, I bet someone made a show about something
Yeah.
like that.
And because Japanese people revered their weapons so much more than Americans did, just by default, they seem so much more awesome because in that culture they were, whereas in our culture, I mean, a sword's a sword. Who really cares?
Yeah, like 100 of them.
Yeah. Like a sword was only legendary because it was involved in some sort of battle, not because it is particularly constructed very well.
Alright, let's jump down here for a bit. Let's just hang out.
There are a lot of bad guys in this fight, which is why it's so hard. Not because like they're hard to kill; they're easy to kill because there's so many of them.
Yeah, it's very much the Uncharted problem. Or
Yeah.
just even, like this
Yeah,
genre's
this
problem.
feels like an Uncharted level.
Where it's like at the very end, it's like, I don't know, just put armor on him and then make like 50 of them.
Yeah, like even more than the other levels, this feels like an Uncharted level.
Yeah, which is a shame. Alright, and this is
Because
okay.
it just doesn't work with Tomb Raider as well as the other levels in this game do, but it's not bad.
Alright, let's keep on trucking. Very good visual effect for the wind, I think. I like how
Yeah.
it looks.
It looks kind of like a dust storm,
Yeah.
which would make sense given where we are at.
Alright, so now we're gonna do the big boss fight, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
We're gonna fight it.
Yeah, it's a time for a video game boss
Check
battle.
out my secret finishing move, Plank! Gotta love Plank, it's my favorite move.
My best friend, Plank.
Good times. Alright, I want to say that this next campfire might be the one where it says, you can not fast travel past this point. Could be wrong.
We are going to actually be at the finale.
No, not this one, it's the next one.
No, it's in a more circular room.
Yeah. Because it's like the tunnel right before the...
Yeah, I remember
top.
exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
This Chinese earthenware is
Alright.
Because there's a whole puzzle right before the end. I think we're about to come up to a puzzle room.
We never.
Oh, that's the end of the World War II diaries. Or second last at the end. If there's a puzzle... Oh, right, this room, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You remember this puzzle room?
Yes. I remember getting stuck on it originally, and now I'm like, yeah, I get it. I remember what to do.
I may be behind in the stream, but I can use my foresight to keep up with you.
Okay, so this is the one that pulls it up. I need to go to that one to open up the gate. This
I think there's a Whitman diary in this room somewhere.
Hot Whitman diaries. He
Don't
would, have a
remember.
he would have a diary in the room that's just full of dead guys.
Yeah. Where it basically outlines his entire like, oh, I didn't mean to betray Laura, it just kind of happened.
These things just happen.
I've seen similar artifacts.
Oh, that might be it.
No, it's just a base. The notebooks are always notebooks.
Oh.
I think you're right though. It's like in this room and the next, or just like in this area, because I do remember picking up a diary related to that.
And it just made Whitman look that much worse, and he was already looking bad.
Yeah, he's just a poor villain because it's so obvious.
And he's not even really a villain per se, because that would imply that he planned all this, and he's just like, he's just a
an
bad
opportunist
person.
asshole.
He's just a shitty person.
Yeah. Let's break open the chest here. Excuse me, sir.
Like, and he's shitty in the worst way.
I forgot there were just maps in this game.
Like, and it feels strange that they didn't really like try to give him like any real good reason to do what he does. He's just literally in it for the money and the fame, and that's his only excuse.
Need to get up there somehow.
Alright, if I remember this correctly, you have to reclose the gate and then lower this back down into it.
Yes, that's what I remember.
Because I remember that's where I got stuck. when
Yeah,
I
on the
just did-
right side is the gate.
Yeah. So close this. I do like how the icon, if you're reversing an action, it starts with the filled up axe and then lowers down.
Yeah.
So that's a nice visual touch. Little things, man.
Yeah, it's good UI design.
Man, we're almost done with this.
I know. It doesn't feel like it's been long since we started this season.
Yeah, that's because for us it hasn't been that long. But for you guys, it'll have been quite a journey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Jump!
I can make this jump.
That's what you tell me. She's like, I can make this jump, and it's like, are you really so sure? Alright.
Yeah, we've gone from that Laura who's afraid to do much to this Laura is like, you know what? I can make this jump.
The queen chooses her successor.
And this is where we get our final bit of exposition before the end of
Yeah.
the game.
Where she realizes that it's not someone who she doesn't become the new princess. She becomes Himiko.
Many have given up their souls willingly
Yeah.
for this gift.
Spiritual possession.
Shit's crazy.
A soul in a decaying body.
Soul. I feel like that's kind of like a weird story trope, though, of like the I'm gonna flashback voices to put all the exposition together. Like,
Yeah,
I see it.
but it works.
I mean, yeah, for this game, sure. It like, especially this kind of game where it's like the Indiana Jones style of like put the puzzle together.
hmm
Also, that's good framing. Like, I like that really wide shot of Laura standing next to the giant statue.
Yeah, where she can't actually talk to Himiko, but she can use that statue as a proxy to talk to her.
Alright, I don't know what our time is, but I believe this is the tunnel with the campfire.
We're in 21 minutes, so
Alright.
this is actually a
This is
really
gonna
good
work out
stopping
really
point.
well. Because I believe this
It's
is it.
actually exceptionally well timed.
Well, we should fuck it up somehow. How can we mess up this timing? I believe this is a loading tunnel, just judging by the fact that Laura is walking really slowly.
Yeah.
And
And it's weird because it looks like she's really trying to run, but
It's
she
like,
can't
oh, just
because the game design. Like, no, game designers, I have to run through this corridor, and then the designer's like, nope, you have to go slowly, so we're just gonna slow down your run animation.
A lot of vases at the end, which is kind of disappointing as treasures. Like, you kind of wish you would get a bit more history-related stuff, or stuff with a
Yeah.
bit more exposition attached to it. Anyway, since I'm using the rifle a lot, let's get the rifle expert. Doesn't really matter at this point because this is literally the end of the game. So let's get our
Yeah.
final level up.
And
going.
if you were a bit more diligent in doing the collectibles, this would probably be where you get your last skill point.
Yeah. But we got close, which I think is pretty
Yeah.
good. So this is it, guys. We're going to end this episode here because the next one will easily be it because it's literally like a boss fight. and
It'll
That's
be
it.
our grand finale.
So, if you like this video, you can hit the like button below because that makes us both really happy people if you do so. And, of course, if you like this series and you want to check out future videos and get updates on that, you can always subscribe to us. Subscribe to Interactive Friction, that is. And if you'd like to leave a comment below discussing this episode or give us some feedback on the series or this episode, you can do so. We're always looking for commentary feedback, some things we can do better.
We like talking to people.
Yeah, talking is fun. I like
Or
discussion.
writing to them. We're not actually talking.
I like putting words on the internet to people.
Yeah.
And of course, in the description, you can also find links to both of our Twitter accounts where we tweet about games and sometimes other stuff that is not games. And you can also find links to both of our personal blogs where we talk about games.
Yes.
So other than that, we will see you guys in the next and final episode of Interactive Friction Season 2.
Tomb Raider 2013.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.